What it is, what it do, what it be. It's your boy D Stu, aka Moscato Poppy on Instagram. Welcome to another episode of Birdie by Opinions, y'all. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Cool G. You know me. Follow me on IG at GXBoy_. I'm on the road.
Hey, that boy on the road. Hey, you already know it's your boy 6'2" and nasty. Rude to the good bros, baby.
Talk to him. What it is, y'all, we ain't been here in a couple weeks, but we bike. We got a special episode today. We're going to have a guest come on later and talk about some very, very interesting topics later on. But that's for later. Right now, we're going to get into dope or dumb. You know how we do it. I'm going to give the guys a handful of topics. They're going to tell me whether they think each one is dope or dumb, and then give me the justification for why they went either way. So without further ado, let's roll on into it. Oh, yeah, TJ ain't here today. I forgot. We shout out to TJ. Wherever he may be.
Thurn.
No. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Thurn. You can follow me on IG at _Thurn. Praise God. Praise God.
We got you. All right, so first up, man, we got taking it to Gucci, bro. I don't own no Gucci. Gucci a little too expensive for my blood. But we're talking about Gucci here this morning. Gucci coming out with a pair of grass-stained overalls.
$750.
What article you read? $750. Gucci is selling grass-stained overalls for $1,400. And
$1,400. I thought it was $750. Oh,
they got the jeans for $1,200.
Yeah. Oh, the jeans. I saw the jeans. I didn't see the overalls.
Y'all copping these Gucci exclusives? Dope or dumb? Let me know. Talk to me.
Bruh, ain't no way. Ain't no way,
bro. Bro,
ain't no way.
People are so brand heavy. It's mind-boggling, bro. Bro, you can go get a pair of overalls from Walmart.
Wally World.
All in the dirt, bro.
Easy.
$30, $40.
Cool. $12, $15. Right. Cool 12.
Yeah. Roll around and grass stain, bro. I was a kid. I used to get in trouble for having grass stain.
They not Gucci.
That dead. I'm good.
Man, they ain't Gucci. That's all right. They ain't Levi's either. Levi's. I'm wearing Levi's over Gucci pants. And that's not because
something that's. If I'm a buyer, like if I got the money, right, I need something where people can readily identify that these pants are Gucci. Like if I'm gonna spend $1,200-$1,400 on them, you need to know that these are some Gucci exclusives right here.
But I don't know. I mean, that's true. But I'm gonna spend $1,200-$1,400 on some clothes. Boy, that better be the best fit clothes in the world, boy.
If I was gonna spend it, you gotta know how to spend it.
No doubt.
Man, them jeans better last me a lifetime. My grandkids better be able to wear them.
I'm telling you, boy. I should be 80. I should be 80 still getting it. Still getting it. Boy, y'all remember these Gucci's back in the day?
Hey, they look like Wranglers. They ain't even
that's what I'm saying.
They just like regular jeans, bruh. Not Wranglers. Lee Dungarees. Them Lee Dungarees.
Not the Lee. The Lee Dungarees, bro. That's the classic.
Hey, those of you who don't know what Lee Dungarees are, I invite you to go Google those. I know a lot of y'all don't even know what it is.
That used to be the classic.
Not the Lee Dungarees.
All right, boy.
All right, moving on to the next. Y'all say that dumb? Both of y'all say that dumb?
Yeah, that's unanimous, bro.
As if it was ever in doubt. All right, this next story is kind of strange, man. I saw it on Facebook a little while ago, and I kind of glanced over the article. But we're going to Vietnam, bro. Police raid in Vietnam finds more than 300,000 used condoms being packed to be resold. So, yeah, man. Inspectors in Binh Duong, I don't know how to pronounce these city names. They discovered used condoms being repackaged to be sold at the market, bro. So it was like a swap meet. People were taking these used condoms, cleaning them, rolling them back up, repackaging them, and selling them to the public.
Oh.
I don't even feel like I need to ask if it's dope or dumb.
Oh.
Just give me some reactions, man. How do y'all feel?
Oh my God, bro! Like, my first mind is like, oh, what is the STD rates now?
Bango.
Like,
that's the first thing.
Oh my God!
Head. I'm like, yeah, you put preventative maintenance, protective measures, but what if somebody has a disease and
help me, Jesus?
Bro, that's
And
real,
then
Bo.
And then my next question is, how in God's great name, like, do you repackage them in a way to where people don't know that they've been tampered with?
I guess they gotta tell. I think you gotta tell them to sell stuff like that. I think you got to tell. You gotta tell.
I don't think so, bro.
You gotta tell.
Where are they getting used condoms?
Exactly, bro. That's another one.
Where
the
do you
toilet.
use condoms? That like
Out
that
the toilet.
to repackage and sell. I can understand one or two laying around and you pick it up, but where you getting bulk loads of used condoms from?
Like, do they have a
Brothers?
designated place to get rid of those things? Like,
I don't know. That's the
Bro,
most
that
shocking
is
part.
crazy,
I mean, I think they
dog.
do have like whorehouses and brothels and stuff like that over in Vietnam. I don't know for sure. I'm assuming. But that would be the only place I could think of where you could get a boatload of used condoms.
I mean, true. True.
Wow. Yeah, that's
That's rough, though.
yeah, that is so unsafe.
That's bad. That's why I don't use them.
That's
Oh, they wild.
says the
Big time. Big time.
Says
Big
the
time.
married man. Says the married
Big
man.
Safe sex, people. Safe sex. We ain't doing that over here, I don't think. So, safe sex, wrap it up. But moving on, man. So we already know that, dumb. I ain't even got to ask you. Moving on to the next story. We're going down to, I don't even know exactly. I'm going to say Dallas. Mark Cuban, my boy Mark Cuban for president,
Mark
bro. Let me
Cuban.
go and preface with that.
Yo, Mark Cuban, my guy, bro.
Mark
He's my
Cuban for
guy.
president, bro. So I think we did the story a while back where we talked about Delonte West.
Delonte
He's had
West,
problems
yeah.
with addiction. I don't know exactly what substance or drug or, you know, what method what he's using to be addicted.
They say bipolar disorder too, though.
Oh, is it bipolar? Okay, so
That's what they said.
Delonte West has been going through a lot in the past few years, man. He's been homeless. I think this is like his second or third time now when we've seen the photos of him begging for money surfacing on the internet, man. So photos came back up again this week of former NBA star Delonte West on the corner begging, homeless. And apparently these photos reached Mark Cuban, man. Delonte West used to play for the Mavs, and Mark Cuban, as we all know, is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He went and personally went and picked up Delonte West, took him to Florida, put him in a rehab facility or a treatment facility, and he is currently now receiving treatment. So how do y'all
Praise
feel
God.
about Mark Cuban going to personally pick up Delonte West? It wasn't a publicity stunt. I just saw some people say that. Do y'all think he genuinely did it out of the goodness of his heart? And do y'all think it's dope or dumb? Give me reactions.
Bruh, like, I can't call it a publicity stunt because, you know, off the strength of, you know, you went and personally got this man. If you leave Delonte West out on the street, it don't make or break you. So I think it's the ultimate dope for Mark Cuban to go and do that, just knowing Delonte West personally, and he, you know, finding it in the kindness of his heart to go and do that, because, you know, if you want to talk about it, bro, like, ain't nobody has yet to go and pick up Delonte West. You know, they was talking about it earlier this year where, you know, they were supposed to be sending money to go and find him, but nobody actually went and found this man to pick him up like Mark Cuban did. So
I mean, they said some of his old teammates tried to catch up with him, Jameer Nelson and all them boys. They say they tried to catch up with him, but he would brush it off. He would brush it off.
And that's what I'm saying. Nah, but you know, for Mark Cuban to go and actually get him there and to actually convince him to go to a whole nother state. He's in Florida, bro. Like, he next leveled that thing. I think, you know, I can't speak on what those guys actually went and did as far as reaching out to him, but I feel like at this point, when you hit rock bottom, somebody's coming to help you out. They don't have to twist your arm too much now. You know what I'm saying? If the help is legit there, if I'm out on the street and one of y'all boys say, "Hey, G, come on, let's go," you ain't got to tell me but a couple of times. You only got to tell me a couple of times. The first time you said, "I'm out of there," all right, bro, I'm out. And,
I mean, true.
But I think it's dope, man. Respect to Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban for president, Plies for vice president.
Boy, that'd be a big time combination, bro.
It's a funny ticket, boy.
Yeah, Plies for vice president, and yeah. What you got, Snoop?
Mark Cuban's probably like one of the best owners sport-wise that I all across the board I support. You know, the Robert Kraft, the Jerry Jones, I get those guys, I understand. But Mark Cuban takes that thing to a whole nother level. And, like, he sets the precedent. You know, owners, that's what owners about. You know what I'm saying? You know, these guys have put and poured so much into your organization that you deserve to help them out at any chance that you can get. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like those boys hurt for money. Jerry Jones, Robert Kraft ain't hurt for money. We know that. But has you seen, you know, I don't think you would see Robert Kraft go out there and help anybody. I don't think you would see Jerry Jones. Michael Irvin. When Michael Irvin was going through his little addiction, was Jerry Jones anywhere?
I forgot about that.
Think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. So, like, Mark Cuban, and then Mark Cuban, man, he's the guy. So I support that all the way. I support that all the way.
Respect the Mark, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, so, yeah, a lot went on with Dallas Cowboys players, but Jerry Jones didn't step up or anything, man.
I mean, I don't like to bring the other owners into it because we don't know what they do behind the scenes, right? We don't know. We don't know what organizations they give to or whatever. But I mean, this what Mark Cuban's doing. It goes beyond just cutting a check, right? Like to actually get into your car and go and see about this, man. Pick him up personally.
Hit the ground.
To actually go in person and try to find this guy is incredible. For somebody of his financial stature, being a billionaire, an owner. You know, it's one thing for Doc, because I read that Doc Rivers has gone and tried to get Delonte West. I just want to say I ain't seen nothing about LeBron trying to go get Delonte West, former teammate. But anyway, it's a whole nother thing for Mark Cuban to go and personally meet with Delonte West. And it speaks volumes to his character. I've always thought Mark Cuban is an incredible humanitarian. Incredible. It's great to be a businessman and to be financially savvy, but to be a great humanitarian at the same time, man, that's just it's the epitome of humanity. Like, you reach the peak, bro. Like, to keep that level of humility.
Isn't that what it's about though? Paying it forward? Like, that's kind of the
should be.
I don't know, like, you can't say American dream because I don't know if we can really say that's the American dream, but that's kind of the American way, paying it forward.
It should be the. We can't say it is.
I can agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
It definitely
should be.
But I mean, you're just paying it forward, man. You do on the others as you have them do on you. You plant those seeds for later because you don't know what kind of harvest that's going to bring forth for you later on in life.
Get you. Turn that thing around.
Yeah, but seriously, that's really solid of Mark Cuban, man. That's really solid. I hope Delonte West. The most important thing for this for me is I hope Delonte West defeats any demons that he has right now, and he just really overcomes those things, because, you know, all this help, all this stuff would have gone to waste had not, he has to make the decision to be better and to get better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, mental health is big, bro.
Mental health. I think that plays into addiction and everything. Whatever his vice is, you know, like it's a battle, and you know, it's not for the weak or the weary, man. You got to persevere, man. So, just like I say, man, kudos to Mark Cuban, Delonte West. I hope that he gets his life together. I hope that, you know, he gets it figured out, man. But that's the ultimate dope.
Okay, so today we have a special guest for you guys. I told you guys we were going to talk about sex a little bit today and different dynamics for Black men, what we're missing out on, if anything. So Camille, welcome to the show. I'm going to let you enlighten the people on your background a little bit so I don't butcher it. So yeah, just take it away.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for having me. My name's Camille Lewis. I'm an associate marriage and family therapist, and I specialize in sex and relationships.
So elaborate for us. What is a sex therapist, sex coach? What's the preferred title?
So sex therapists and sex coaches are kind of similar, but different in a few ways. A sex coach doesn't necessarily have to have a therapy background. So you can kind of be a sex coach if you do a coaching program or if you just want to call yourself a sex coach. So therapists are more, have to go through a different type of licensing process. So you have to get your master's, then you have to do clinical hours and do that whole shebang. So I'm a therapist and I really like it.
What kind of clientele do you normally service?
Yeah.
My bad.
So I see a wide variety of different types of clients. My favorite probably is working with couples. I see a lot of couples who struggle with intimacy. So people, if they're in like heterosexual relationships, maybe erectile dysfunction might come up, painful intercourse, or like different types of sex drives. I also work with sex workers. So I work with porn stars, I work with strippers, and providing support to them. And also people who are kind of in the kink community. So people who are have different type of fetishes and might be into BDSM and things like that.
So you see everything under the sun, basically.
Hey,
I do. I like to keep it interesting.
Yo, good God,
the most fun job on earth.
I do. I really love it.
So now with that though, does it kind of interfere with your social life? Like, you know, some of your friends probably shy away from saying a few things, or do they just be like blatantly just come ask you all the questions and all the details? And
yeah, my friends definitely aren't shy. So
gotcha.
We spend a lot of time talking about sex and them trying to pry information from me.
Well, I mean, free code. I know that's easy. You ain't got to pay too much. Yeah, exactly. I figured that. That's what I was thinking.
Insurance don't cover that, you know.
Good.
No, man, your job sounds super dope. So we kind of wanted to bring you in to give us a more professional viewpoint on a couple areas of focus today, focusing mainly on Black men and our relationships. So we'll just dive into it. So what are some stigmas around sex that you encounter with clients or whomever else that, you know, stigmas that are mainly in the Black community? What kind of stigmas around sex do you normally see with us?
Totally. I think that there's a lot of stigmas around like being exploratory. So I feel like in the Black community, there's like a lot of emphasis on having sex a couple of particular ways. And, you know, I think, you know, in music, I think maybe men having a lot of partners. I think now it's really exciting to see women also talk about having a lot of partners or talking about their pussies and everything like that. So I'm very into that. But I think different stigmas definitely would be around anal, especially for men, because I think that there's a lot of stigma that I see his face. Because I think that there is an assumption that anything involving like anal play or anything like that is gay. So there's a lot of a stigma around that, and so not a lot of creativity. I think also in terms of fetishes and kinks, like I think that people think that it's like white people shit and that it's not for Black people. So I think that it feels really limiting. You know, it's like doggy style, missionary, maybe a threesome here or there, and that's about it. So I think that getting a little bit more creative, also using toys and stuff like that isn't really talked about, or that might feel emasculating. So I think that especially in talking about Black men, you have to talk about like the toxic masculinity piece, homophobia, stuff like that.
Yeah, you hit on so many points that we wanted to get into.
All the bases right now, you're right.
Let's go with fetishes. Do you feel like Black men are allowed to have fetishes? I know you feel like they should, but do you feel like Black men are allowed to have fetishes in the average relationship? Go ahead. What you got to add?
And I'm about to say a counter up, not allowed, or like, you know, are fetishes just really, because I let's say just misinterpreted, because you know I was thinking when you said kinks and fetishes, I was kind of intertwining the two. I was thinking like they're the same. So if you could break that down a little bit more too, because I don't know what's kinks. That's definitely
sure. Yeah. So a kink, the difference between a kink and a fetish, they kind of toe a line, but like, I think foot fetish is probably one of the most popular fetishes.
Right.
But typically fetishes actually have to do with like non-body parts. So you can have like a fetish around, like some people are like furries. So they're into like furry stuffed animals.
Costume. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that could be a fetish. A kink is more like a sexual proclivity that you're interested in. A more extreme one would be like golden showers. Another one could be kink and BDSM could be, you know, like role play or you know, bondage, discipline, things like that. I think that I think that Black men aren't really allowed to, like, from just like a societal perspective. Do I think that Black men are allowed to? Absolutely. I encourage it. I think it's really fun. Like, I think the best part about sex is that it should be pleasurable and that it should be fun. And so if we're limiting ourselves to only having sex a certain type of way with a certain type of person, you're missing out on a whole lot of opportunity to connect with different parts of you. And I think that, you know, in general, people are allowed to have so many different interests. Like, we're allowed to like to go to different places, we're allowed to like different foods, different hobbies, but we're really only allowed to have sex in a pretty specific type of way, like between a penis and a vagina, and that's kind of it, just kind of standard sex, a couple of different positions, and then everybody comes allegedly, and then it's all good. Also, I don't know if I'm supposed to be able to cuss on this show or be explicit.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
You good.
You're good.
Thanks.
Did you have something earlier?
Yeah. Okay. So back to the whole thing of couples. Like, what is the biggest struggle that you've seen with married couples that like been married, like, you know, for a little bit longer?
Come on,
what's the biggest
couples?
struggle with them?
I think it's definitely loss of libido, so loss of sex drive, where maybe one partner wants to have sex more than the other one, or and that can be a sticking point, because then one partner might feel rejected, one might feel pressured, and it can be a source of tension and feeling of insecurity. That's probably the biggest one.
So
is that common?
In terms of
Totally.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just no. Go ahead, Stu. I'm done.
Man, I'm trying to get all the questions. I got so many questions.
Yeah, I know. I got so many bubbling too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out.
So, intimacy. I know intimacy is something that we've talked about in our group chat a lot. Like, it means different things for different people, and from men to women, it varies so much.
It varies. Yes.
In your experience, what's the difference in definition between men and women when it comes to intimacy?
Question. I'd be curious to know what you all are finding is the difference. And when you say intimacy, are you talking about intimacy or are you talking about sex? They're different, or they can be.
Perfect. Because that's what I was gonna say too. Like, I guess kind of just before you get to the marriage stage, the whole dating phase. You know, the 90-day rule or whatever, more say, or, you know, not having sex on the first night. And with that, like you say, the intimacy is just, you know, you spending time together, you know, sharing sensual kisses and just kind of touchy-feely and, you know, setting things up for that next step.
Warming up the car.
And then again, exactly. But at a certain point, like, at what point does it become pressure? Like you said, because some, like, you know, I know, you know, it not really okay in today's society that, you know, some people still think sex on the first night is not good, you know? So how is that challenge?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's perfectly okay to have boundaries around sex and when you want to have it and when you don't. And I think it's important to look at like where those boundaries come from. Like, I think maybe if people are like saying that they don't want to fuck on the first date, that maybe then, especially if it's between a woman and a man, and the woman's like, if we do this, then he won't take me seriously, or he won't wife me up, or whatever it is. Like, I think ask yourself where that came from, because
nonsense.
I agree. I mean, I totally think that you can fuck on the first date and it can turn into a relationship. You can fuck on the first
Come
date.
on, somebody.
Right.
Somebody.
It really depends. I don't think it's
Right.
as constricted as like, if you have sex on the first date, then you will not get wifed up. I don't believe that.
Exactly.
It's not, that's also not been my experience. So
Exactly.
How does intimacy different from sex though? You said something. You said there was two different things. I just kind of want to hear
yeah,
what you like the textbook definition
totally.
as far as a therapist. Like what's the definition? What's the difference?
Yeah, I actually just did a post on this on Instagram. So just about intimacy in general. But I think that intimacy is just anything that brings people close and personal. So you can have intimacy by just like looking at somebody in the eyes and like holding them in your gaze, holding their hands, like breathing together. I think that that's incredibly intimate. I think that you can create intimacy by reading a book together. I think that you can create intimacy by taking a bath together. I think that you can create intimacy by just like having a heavy makeout session or having massage or going on a walk together or talking about your dreams. Like it ranges so much because it's just what makes you feel seen, what makes you feel appreciated and validated.
So basically the things that makes you feel like, that makes you more so feel like vulnerable or open to that person or with that person.
Yeah, like vulnerable and safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think men associate intimacy with physical.
See, and that's exactly all I think about.
Yeah.
Like, you know, physical. When I hear intimacy, I think of kissing, touches. But now that you broke it down like that, you know, walks or just reading a book, or even like you said, the gaze. Like that's
I guess for me, I'm kind of sort of seeing the other side of that. It's kind of sort of what she's saying is making sense because, you know, like I've been trying to do this whole celibacy thing now. So
wait, what?
Like finding
celibate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And why are you doing that?
It's more so it's not more so for, it's for religious reasons.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to wait till marriage and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I can be honest and forthcoming. Like, you know, I still have my slip ups. I'm still a man at the end of the day, but just for, well, what it did for me, just me like kind of withholding from sex. What happened? It made me have to get creative as far as keeping my significant other's like interests.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it makes you get creative. Like once you take the sex out of stuff, like what's left to lay in there after that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like it kind of sort of like, it's almost like it pulled back a blind of like, you know, maybe like a lot of things that I thought that sex would compensate for, that really it was just like, it's like a lot of stuff that you can't replace with sex.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting of the creativity piece. Like that's the best, most fun part of sex, is being creative about how to create connection. And I think I also tell people, like in my practice sometimes, like if you're struggling with if you're struggling with sex with your partner, like can you widen your definition of what sex is? Like can you have sex without penetration? Like, and can
what is?
Oh yeah, hold on. Talk about now. That's next level. That's definitely next level. I never heard of that. Is that possible though?
Totally, I think so, because I think the fact is like we conceive of sex as penis, vagina, penetration, orgasm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That leaves out so much. It leaves out different types of touch. It leaves out different types of toys. It leaves out head. It leaves out fingering. It leaves out blowjobs, like in everything. So I think that I like that taking. I even tell sometimes couples struggling with sex, like take penetration off the table. Can you still have a sexual life? Like, can you still have intimacy? Can you have physical intimacy? Can you have pleasure? Can you like connect with one another? If the end goal is always just penetration and orgasm, it's a lot of pressure. So that I think a lot of times people feel shamed around it, or they don't feel like they can achieve that all the time. And then you feel different things about your self-confidence.
So toys, you hit on toys. I think most men believe that 98% of the toys out there, the sex toys out there, are for our feminine counterparts. What toys are for us? Like, what can we buy? And we're not talking about dildos either. So
the flashlights.
Flashlights. Yeah. I mean, that's about it though. From what
that's it.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if you look at sex toys in general, there are a lot that are marketed to women, but they're all variations of similar things. So there's vibrators, there's dildos, there's like lube, there's other types of things, but there's a lot, but they do similar things. So similar to a fleshlight, there's different types of products that do a similar thing. I think also cock rings and I will say it, anal beads. Anal beads can be used in men and women. So I think black men need my takeaway for this is black men need to get into ass play. So that's my takeaway.
Why are we so all over? Right. Why are we so reluctant to that though? Like,
because it's internalized homophobia. Black men are in black culture taught to be the alpha male from a young age, to not be creative, to not be gay at any fucking cost. And so that's why it's really challenging for gay black men, and they receive a lot of hate and violence, and for straight black men to want to be curious with their sexuality, because they think that it makes them gay. And you can only want to have sex with women and still like your ass eaten. It happens.
Wow,
men have a lot of pleasure centers around their prostate, your pleasure center.
No, I've heard that. I've definitely heard that. I've heard that.
That's true. I mean, I've got a lot of white coworkers who my man's told me like, yo, getting your ass eaten is amazing.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Not even white coworker. I have a homeboy that's been down that lane and he's black. So, and
I'm sure he's living his best life. Sure he's enjoying it.
He's not, and he's definitely not ashamed of it. You know, he's definitely not ashamed.
Which is great. Like, I think it's just like when we take sexuality out of it, it's just pleasure, and it's just body parts. Like, just because it's located at a particular body part doesn't mean that it has any sexuality or connotation with it inherently. We put it there. But if we take that away, it's just like they're just nipples, or they're just assholes, or they're just whatever.
Okay.
We put it on that. Yeah.
Kind of got a two-part question. The first one, you just hit it with pleasure. So if it's challenging to pleasure your partner, or like you said, reach that orgasmic peak, then what would be some steps to take into that next level to get to pleasure? Or is pleasure part of intimacy as well too?
Totally. Yeah, you can totally get pleasure from intimacy. I think thinking about when you're maybe younger and having your first sexual experiences, in terms of just like making out with somebody for the first time probably feels so good, or just like touching somebody or having somebody touch you feels amazing. So I think dialing it back to like the basics and being like, I can receive pleasure in different types of ways. I think when we get older, we just believe that like you're supposed to come every time. I think a lot of times it's like sex is over after the man comes, and women are kind of just like faking orgasms, or they're just not having them. And so I think that, and I also don't think like an orgasm is required to have good sex. Like, I think that you can have good sex without having an orgasm. And I think that you can have an orgasm not necessarily without having good sex. Body parts do sometimes things without our complete knowledge. So I don't remember the first part of your question, but I don't think
that was it. But also, what would be the challenging part, of your field, of your work? What's challenging that you find challenging at times?
That's a good question. I don't know that I necessarily find it challenging. I mean, I think my hope is just to help and support people
Enlighten.
feel more comfortable around themselves. And I think sometimes, like, the biggest thing that comes with sex therapy is shame. There's tons of shame around sex.
Right.
So just trying to take away the shame so people can feel good about themselves can be hard, because there's a lot of lessons and things that we've learned about sex throughout our lives that makes us feel ashamed. So
Right.
But we've talked about black men missing out on a lot sexually, and we're afraid to try different things. Why is it that the black man in society is seen as this over-sexualized being or representation? Like, the black man is super sexualized in pop culture or whatever. But we've already said that we really are pretty basic when it comes to sex and exploring our sexuality. So how do we get from A to B?
Yeah. Did you have a follow-up question to that, or should I answer this one first?
Go ahead and answer.
That's a heavy question. I mean, I think it comes from a lot of how black men were like marketed, especially like if you're looking back in when black men were auctioned off as being, you know, big, strong, muscular animals, beasts, capable of doing the manual labor. So I think that went into fetishization of the black male body. And it happens for black women too, but I think for black men, there is this association with like BBC, you know, big black cock, and like how that is, it's a really popular porn category also. And so I think that what that does then is also just produces shame, because if there is a black man and isn't as well endowed, like that internalized shame of like, I'm black but I don't have a big dick, am I still a black man? Which is just like, yeah, absolutely. Like, penises come in all different shapes and sizes regardless of your race. And so I think that what that does is then have black men feel like they need to have a certain type of sexual performance. I think it's also, unfortunately, really common for black men to have sex for the first time at younger ages, and it thought to be cool. You know, I think like Boosie did an Instagram live where he was talking about how he had prostitutes fuck his sons at like 14.
We covered that.
I mean, that, first of all, it's rape, and second of all, it's incredibly problematic. And so I think that hypersexualization and fetishization that happens from young ages so damaging. It's damaging for white folks, it's damaging for black folks, it's damaging for everybody, because it makes you feel also more threatened. So
that's like a rite of passage, man. Dang. Like sex at an early age is like a rite of passage, and if you're not doing it, bro, you are lame.
Right.
You are lame, my guy.
Like as young as like 12 years old. Like if you think about a 12-year-old, they are children. They're children.
Exactly. They don't even know no better. Like nothing outside of.
I can remember being bullied for being a virgin.
Yeah, of course. Totally.
Right.
But go ahead with your question, Jake.
Okay, so that goes to my next question. All right, so my question is, like, in your personal life, like, how has you being a sex therapist helped or hurt your relationships, your personal relationships? Do you meet guys that can't settle with the fact that you're completely open, or they can't quite wrap their minds around like how you view sex or healthy sex or any kind of intimate relationship? Do you run into hiccups?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, sometimes I do. Sometimes it feels challenging because I'm very outspoken about like my personal boundaries, and but I mean, I'm also like, I like to practice what I preach as much as possible. So I like to be creative. I like to not shame myself around sex. So I think that it can go both ways. I think sometimes it can feel like, oh my God, like you're just like this, you know, crazy pro-sex feminist hoe or whatever. But I don't actually run into that frequently. I think that most of the time partners are more interested than anything.
Are they intimidated by you?
Yeah. I think so.
I would definitely think so.
I think I would be too. I
would definitely.
At least
think
at
so.
first.
Why? Well, why though?
Because you're challenging the norms.
Well, and then you know so much more about sex, and like you said, sex is very sensitive. So as a male, if I can't perform well or I feel like I'm not pleasuring you, then that.
But I think that I would be the perfect person to have that experience with, because I wouldn't shame you.
True.
I know, this is fine. Let's do something else.
You're right.
Way to look at it too. That's a different way to look at it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but a lot of times sex has such a it has either a very positive energy going around, very positive connotation around it, or very negative. So it's kind of hard to find that happy medium. And I think what would be difficult, or what would be kind of hard to wrap your mind around, is like, oh my God, just like Snoop said, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I feel
And I think that goes to like the pressure as well of like, I think that our society also has like an obsession with hard dicks. So it's just like, if your dick doesn't get hard, then like it's your manhood, and now you're less of a man. And it's just like, how that makes zero sense. Like, your gender identity is whatever you want it to be, and it has little to do with how erect your penis is. And I think that pressure of like, I need to do my job, that doesn't sound like fun. Like, sex should be something that's like exciting. Like, when I think of doing a job, I mean, I like my job, but most jobs fucking suck. And so if sex feels like work, then
it's not.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie, there always is a burden on us to perform at optimum levels at all times. I mean, do we? Absolutely not. But there's always that pressure there.
Agreed.
So, you guys got any more questions before I let her?
Nah. Yeah, that was a good combo.
So, Camille, is there anything that you want to share with the listeners regarding sex that we didn't already hit on before we kind of wrap this up?
I have tons of things I could say, but no, I think we covered a lot today. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We appreciate you coming through. Hopefully you come back through in the future. Maybe we can get you back.
And how can you be reached? What's your
drop the IG, drop the webpage.
Awesome. Yeah. So I can be reached at my website is CamilleLewis.com. So it's KAMILLEWIS.com. I was like, wait, I forgot my website. I forgot if it was Camille Lewis.
That's the hangover is, huh?
I'll drop a screenshot in the video too. So
okay. And my Instagram is just Camille.Lewis, KAMIL.LEWIS. And yeah, I'm accepting new clients. So if anybody's looking for a therapist, a Black sex therapist, hit me up.
Do they have to be in LA?
At this time, no, not really. I can do kind of like a coaching client from outside of California. And with COVID, there's a bit of different leniency. Right. So I'm doing everything virtually anyway. So yeah.
Cool
beans.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate everybody for listening.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
This has been another episode of Bourbon by Opinions. This is your boy D Stew, aka Moscato Poppy on Instagram. We appreciate y'all for listening. I'm out.
Word, it's your boy Cool G. Follow me on IG at GXVoid_. Snoop, talk to the people for me, please.
You already know, 6'2", and nasty. Rule to the good bros. I appreciate you again, Camille. It was awesome. Any last words you got for the listeners?
We already said that.
We just did that,
know, but you gotta get the last one again. You might want to get the last one in. Always that last little bit.
I would just say have fun, get creative, and get consent.
Oh,
definitely get consent.
Now that's a good one. Appreciate it.